one, you should have got n equals 2/3 and n equals -1/4. In number 2, you got n equals 0 and m equals 3. Number 1 and number 2 are in factored form. So these ones are already factored for you. So we have factored form, you have standard form, and you have to really know and recognize which form is which when we're solving. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 are in what we call factored form. So all you had to do was apply the zero product property and solve for the variables. If you had a fraction, you could have had -5/2 or -2.5. Both of those are the same. Here you could have had 1/5 or 0.2. So if you had n equals 0.2, that's also fine. Questions about 1 through 4. So then as we move further down, 5, 6, 7, 8, these ones did require you to factor. You can see I set up my magic X. You can also take out a GCF. Your final answers will end up being the same whether you factored it with a GCF or without. So as long as you got those final answers, if your line here looks a little different, that's okay. So again, we're really looking for the final answers. So here you would have had k equals -2 twice. It's considered a repeated root because this is a perfect square trinomial. Perfect square trinomial. You have a perfect square trinomial when the factors are identical. So there is a couple vocab things on Monday. So perfect square trinomials when it factors into itself twice. Then we had 8 and 9. Does anybody have a 10 out of 10 so far?
Yeah.
Perfect. Anybody need to see one of these worked out from the beginning to end? Or you're able to go back and maybe find the little mistake you made to why you don't have that 10 out of 10. So for the back of the worksheet, I didn't put up any of the work so that in this case, if you want to see the work, I will do the problem from beginning to end for you. So here's our final answers. -2, -1, -2, +1, -1/2 and 7, -4/3 and 4. Anybody want to see 11 to 14? Remember, you have a big 100-point quiz on Monday. So if there's something you want to see, now's the time to ask. Nope. That was a great question. Not moving my quiz though. Okay, and then you have 15, 16, 17, and 18. Are there any questions you have for me from those ones? Yeah, Nick, what's up? Yes, you have to combine them. So Nick's question was, if I see terms in number 18, should I combine them? And the answer is yes. So what you should do in 18 is the first step when solving is to make sure it gets set equal to 0. So the only way to set 18 equal to 0 is to move over that 7x squared and that -8x. So it would be 42x squared minus 7x squared minus 69x plus 20 plus 8 equals 0. And then you would combine like terms. So 42, take 7 away from that, and you get 35x squared. And then you would combine 20 and 8 to a positive 28. This is my x equals 0. And then at this point, I would look through and say, okay, do they divide by anything? No, they don't divide by 3. They don't divide by 5. And they don't divide by 7. So I can't do much in terms of simplifying. So what you're going to do now at that point is multiply 35 and 28. So you get 980. And you need two numbers that multiply to 980 and add to negative 69. So I would start with just maybe dividing by 10. And you get 98 and 10, so not quite there. So maybe 980 divided by 20, and I get 49. So I'm just taking like bigger numbers and dividing it. So the two numbers are going to be 20 and 49. They're both negative, since this is negative and that is positive. So then I'm going to replace my middle term with those two values. And then you group together the first two, you group together the last two, including your negative. I could take out a 5x, that leaves 7x minus 4. Here, you could take out a negative so that your first term is positive. So anytime you have a negative on the first term in the grouping, you're going to take out a GCF of a negative. And I'm going to take out a negative 7. Leaving me with 7x minus 4. So my two inside parentheses match. So I get 5x minus 7, 7x minus 4. That's factored form. Notice how I tag along my equal zeros. Guys, I'm giving you a point for getting equal 0 on every line that has to be solved on Monday. So you get it on the back where it has equals 0 for solving. You get a point for putting that equal 0. Don't lose it, because if you don't put it, you lose that same point. And then you get 5x minus 7 equals 0, 7x minus 4 equals 0, and you solve for x, giving you that adding 7, adding 4. So it's 5x equals 7, 7x equals 4, and then you divide both sides to get your 7/5 and 4/7. Okay? The next page was on taking the square root. So in number 1, your k was equal to 0. Number 2, v is equal to plus or minus 1/5 because 25 is a perfect square. Number 3, n is equal to plus or minus 6. Number 4, x is equal to plus or minus. Do not simplify, just leave it as the square root of 19. Number 5, you had to add that 3 to the other side to start. Then you needed to divide both sides by 9. But what do you know about taking the square root of a negative? We take the square root of a negative number. Not right now, you can't. So if you can't take the square root of a negative number, you could have either had prime or maybe you wrote no solution. Number 6, you should have had r equals plus or minus the square root of 68. This was a perfect square, so you got plus or minus 8. 8 was also a prime or no solution because it was equal to a negative number. You had 5a squared equals negative 67. The minute you have this equal to a negative and you can't get rid of it, it's prime or no solution. 9, you should have gotten b equals plus or minus 9. 10, you could have gotten p equals plus or minus the square root of 23 over 8. 11 was x equals plus or minus 1. 12, x equals plus or minus 2. 13, r equals plus or minus the square root of 311. Believe it or not, 311 is prime. 14, p equals plus or minus 18. So when you did that problem, you added 3 to 4,209. So you had 13p squared equals 4,212. Dividing that by 13 gave you 324, which is a perfect square. Okay, and then 15, p equals plus or minus the square root of 305. And 16, n equals plus or minus 12. Questions, comments, concerns, anything you want to see? Okay. And then for homework last night, I gave you a review handout. So actually, to make sure you're all paying attention and awake, we're going to do it a little different. I'm going to use Delta Math to randomly call on each of you because it has a random selector. So hopefully you did your homework. Hopefully you're ready. So random student caller for period 4. First up is Colton Craig. Number 1, what's your answers? Fantastic. Now don't think because you're out, like you went once, you're off the hook. Sometimes Delta Math picks the same kid twice. Okay, number 2, Brady. Number 2. We're on the handout that looks like this that you had to turn in at 10 a.m. So that's number 1. I want number 2. I heard the 0. The 0 is correct. What was your other number? Perfect. So number 2, you got 0 and negative 4. Maria, number 3. Perfect. C equals negative 1/2. Bella H, number 4. Fantastic. Fantastic. Y equals 0 and y equals 3. Number 5, Tyler. Excellent. C equals positive and negative 3. Is Reese here today? I didn't think so. Okay, number 6, Micah. You can do it now and we'll come back to you. Yeah, see, you don't get off the hook just because you didn't do your homework. I'm not that nice. Okay, Micah's on number 6, guys. We'll come back to that. We're on the last pages. Okay, number 7. Molly, give me one of the answers you got in number 7. Perfect. And Rob, give me another answer you got in 7. That's perfect. So we got 3 and negative 2. Okay, I'll give you the problem then. 8? Oh, I thought you said I think it's at home.
No, I said I think it's like 12%.
No. No. Okay, everybody okay with number 7 before I move on?
Yep.
All right, who we're picking on next? See, it picked Tyler again, but I'll save you this time. Nick, number 8. Okay, I like the negative 8. Now, number 8 is one of our special square root ones. So you'd move that 64 over, square root both sides. 64 is a perfect square. So it's positive and negative 8. Oh, I thought you said 4. I'm so sorry. All right, Nick, you're once again perfectly perfect. All right, if you didn't do the square root technique, what type of problem is this? If you didn't do the square root technique, does anybody know j squared minus 64 is also a special type of problem? Perfect. All right, Ryan, if you come up here, off the hook now too. We got difference of squares. Anybody know what that looks like in factored form? Good, Maya? Awesome. Did anybody do it as a factor instead of the square root technique? All right. So again, guys, totally not wrong. Like you could see, you still get the same 2 answers. No, Joe. Max, give me an answer you got for number 9. There are 3 of them. Give me one. Excellent. R equals 0. So we got one answer for 9.
That's not what it said.
Oh, crap. Well, that's still correct. I'm going to blame it on the glass. All right, so he said negative 3. I said 0. Anybody know my third answer? Nick? 5. Fantastic. So number 9 is a special problem because in order to do 9, we had to take out a GCF of R to start. Yeah. All right, Madison. Number 10.
Both.
Yeah, give me both.
Z equals -5 and Z equals 6.
Fantastic. So I asked you if anybody was 10 for 10 before. I can't ask you 10 for 10 now because we're still waiting on Micah for 6.
I don't even remember how to do it. I completely. He's just been staring at the phone. No, I was looking for it. I'm gonna guess like.
No, you're not going to guess up. Do you know the actual problem or do you need me to tell you the problem?
I have my package here. I just don't remember.
So you're doing h squared plus 14 equals -9h.
Right.
So the first thing or the first step is to get it set equal to 0.
Right.
So all right, so what's your next line of work say? All right, awesome. So he has this step right here. All right, so this one has a value of 1 in front, right? So if you do your magic X, the numbers you get on the side are your factors. So you can kind of use my numbers to cheat. So what's the factored for? No. 7 and 2. Those are your factors. Those aren't your answers, though. So that means the next line looks like h plus 7, h plus 2.
Right, that's where I'm at.
So at this point, all you do is set each of those equal to 0 and solve for h. So if you solve for h, you get what? Fantastic. Yeah, and he said 5 less than that, but I said it wasn't 7, it's -7. All right. How many of us went 10 for 10 on that review? Did you really go 1 for 1 though, or did I kind of walk you through that 1 for 1?
Did he get it wrong? Did I get it wrong?
I
I
suppose
just forgot
not.
the next step. That's all.
All right, Miss Jenkins, number 11. Yeah, please. Uh-oh. Yeah, you gave me 12. All right, you're good. So she gave me -4 and -11, but that's 12. It's okay. So, I keep getting Ryan, number 11. That's what I got. So let's look at 11 in case Miss Jenkins actually got -4 and -11. I know, it's okay. We're just teasing. Hey, I am. All right. Jordan, 13. Yes. Remember, I can't hear apparently today, so
X equals 1/4.
yes. Said, remember, I can't hear today. And I'm not Colton that has AirPods in. I just actually can't hear. Do you not have AirPods in? I know, it was a joke. I don't know how you played gym in AirPods yesterday. They would fall out of my ears. Are they just like permanently molded to your ears? All right, Colton S, number 14. That's what I got. Okay, Garrett, give me one answer you got for 15. Me too. Aaron, can you give me another answer for 15? Excellent. Anybody I didn't pick on? Maybe Zach. He's hiding back here in the corner. But that one's a little, the last one's a little tricky.
Read the answers out loud.
Did you get an answer for the last one?
No.
Okay. So guys, the last one's a little tricky. Think about area of a rectangle. Area is length times width. So if the length is x and the area is equal to x squared minus 2x, then x squared minus 2x has to equal 35. So length times width, or area, equals 35. So then we can't have it equal to a number, so you have to set it equal to 0. So then you had to factor. So you needed two numbers that multiplied to negative 35 and added to negative 2. So two numbers multiply to negative 35 and add to negative 2. Maya? Perfect. So 5 and 7. But my 7 has to be negative since one is negative and one is positive. So I got negative 7 and positive 5. So in factored form, I got x plus 5 and x minus 7. And then when you solve them, you got x equals negative 5 and x equals 7. But can we have a negative length for an area of a rectangle? No. So x equals 7 is the only solution.
When those kids are loud, we should send you out the
I'll get homework.
I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing.
What?
She said in this class, never. So guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to post a blank worksheet and an answer key to a worksheet. Totally optional, but if you think you need extra help, you missed a lot of these problems, there's going to be a worksheet with an answer key posted on Teams today. It is not due. You don't have to do anything with it. It is just in case you get tutored or need help. I'm putting out a resource for you. Have a wonderful weekend.